Guys, and gal, I think Tom's sleeping. For the first time in, how long have we done this show? 3.5 years? We going into year 4? Was this year 4? 2021, 22, 23, 24, 4.5 years? I don't know where Tom is. I don't know where Tom Grossi is right now. So I'm just going to fly solo. And you guys are going to pay the price for just having to listen to me. I think Tom's sleeping. I'm guessing he had a late night. We already weren't sure if we were going to do a show today because he didn't know what kind of internet connection he would have, where he could be to stream. But I texted him this morning, and for the first time ever, I did not hear back. And I just had to make a call. Do I do a show without him? Oops, hold on. And I said, yes, let me do a show without Tom and see what happens. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon Perna. And this is GPS. And you are not getting navigated today. You're getting something else today. Where's my, there, and is this the one I had? Oh my God. There we go. All that switching around really messed up my background here. Okay. So, I did set up the stream on Tom's end. It's private, so hopefully that's not showing up on his channel or something. But welcome to the post round 1 draft morning. Hope everybody got the player they desired. I figured even without Tom, we can kind of go through this, talk through some of the interesting things that happened. This is just the PS show today, the Perna Show. Because Grossi, let's say Tom is hungover. He can't get here right now because he's vomiting profusely from all the booze he drank last night after the draft ended. I saw Adrian Peterson got arrested last night. He was at a draft party, then did a DWI, so that's not good. Daniel, love the mustache. Any thoughts on Jackson Dart and Abdul Carter for my Giants? Let's just start there, Daniel. No, I am not Tom. That's a great place to start. I think the Giants overall did a pretty good job. If you're a Giants fan, I think you got to be happy because you just stayed at 3, took who many think is either the first or second best player in this draft at 3. I think there's debate on whether people think it's Travis Hunter's the best overall player or if it's Abdul Carter. But you got a dog, Giants. At that moment, though, still big question of quarterback. But the Giants traded back in with the Texans, right? And you get QB Jackson Dart, who kind of like, I guess, Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter. Some people kind of had him flip-flopped as the first or second best available quarterback. Jackson Dart this offseason rose. He rose from the number 3, number 4. I think Pro Football Focus had him like the 5th or 6th best quarterback in this draft. Second guy taken. I think a lot of teams, the more they studied Jackson Dart, the higher they got on him. And, the Giants needed a quarterback. They go into the first, so they get him on the 5th-year option. Not going to start right away. It's Russell Wilson's team to start with, I believe, is what Dable suggested. But it is an interesting situation to go into with Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston there. Brian Dable's your coach. The Giants with Dable and Joe Shane, like it feels like those two guys are drafting to save their asses, to save their job this season, right? And Dable, I mean, there's probably still on the hot seat, kind of depending on how this goes. So I think the interesting question about the Giants is what kind of leeway is Mara, the owner, John Mara, going to give Dable and Shane to develop Jackson Dart? If he's not the projected starter, it's going to be hard to evaluate who he is as a quarterback, how he's going to affect your franchise going forward. Does this buy them time? Because I think it should. You want to give your coach and your GM who drafted the quarterback time to work with him, because we've seen so many times a team will draft a quarterback and then they fire their coaches. It's a freaking mess. I hope that doesn't happen for Dart. I know Kurt Benkert super high on Jackson Dart. And if that's your guy, I think they played the first round perfectly, the Giants. Is Tom pooping? Fun first round, go Hawks. Again, I don't know where Tom is. He is still yet to text me. I have to imagine he's sleeping. But again, let's just make up stories about him. He is in jail. Tom got arrested last night for he broke into a cheese factory in Wisconsin and was caught fornicating the cheese. He went in there to make love to various wheels of cheese, just like his Viking character, Tom, in his crawl space. Tom was fucking some cheese last night, everybody. And now he's in jail. And Johnny Barks is trying to scrape together enough money to bail him out. Keep an eye on the mail, sending you some autos. Ooh, thank you, Ario. As a Giants fan, I know they only took Dart because they still haven't gotten over Eli. First, they draft Daniel Jones because he looked like him, and now they draft Dart, who went to his school. Yeah, I think Dart's got some skills to work with, though. He's got the athletic talent. He's got a nice arm. Who was I listening to talk about Jackson Dart? I forget. One of the draft guys. But they said basically he had the best pocket presence of any of the QBs in this draft class. Liked the way he played in the pocket. So there's some strengths there. I don't think it's that bad. It is annoying when the Chiefs get who they want, Jordan. It's very annoying. And it's not just that the Chiefs got a tackle. It's they traded one spot with the Eagles, so they netted a 5th round draft pick too. So they got maybe their ideal tackle, and they added a 5th rounder who's probably going to be some great stupid player, right? Some really good Chief. That's how I feel. I feel like that's going to suck. And then it was also difficult to watch the Raiders and the Chargers both draft running backs when we thought the Broncos were going to be taking a running back in the first round. Jahdae Barron will get a pick 6 on Mahomes, calling it now. I hope you are correct. I think everybody was pretty surprised that the Broncos drafted Texas corner Jahdae Barron. Nobody mocked him to the Broncos. It was a big surprise to all of us. And it was a surprise to the Broncos draft room that he was still available. And that's why they took him. I think they had him graded very highly in this draft class. They did not think he would fall to them. And they're just, Travis Hunter, technically the only corner to get drafted, and he's a corner receiver, but then not a single team went corner in those first 20 picks. So that's a big surprise, and they felt like they just had to take him. That is a best player available, and I like it. I think there are some depth questions in the secondary for the Broncos. Riley Moss missed time. Surtain was out a game or two, right, when he had a concussion. And when Moss was out, we struggled. They had to put in Levi Wallace. That game was a disaster. Jaquan McMillan's been very good, but I think this just gives you more options. And from what I've heard, Barron, the best zone coverage corner in this draft class. Probably the most athletic corner in this draft class too. Great speed. So I think it's a good add to the Broncos defense. An area I would have been happy with the Broncos. I thought they would draft maybe a corner later, or a corner or a safety to add some depth there. But if this helps your defense get even better and it builds off where the Broncos were last year, love it. Surprising? Yes. Shocking? Yes. But just because you don't see something coming doesn't mean it's bad. And I think a lot of people kind of have a problem with that in the draft. When their expectations aren't met, they assume it's a bad thing. And I think a lot of Broncos fans reacted that way last night on the social platforms. But I like it. We had Matthew McConaughey tweeting about it. Never had McConaughey acknowledge the Denver Broncos, so that's got to be fucking good, right? All right. All right. Yeah, I'm just going through here. I'm letting the supers kind of dictate how we go through this draft. That is a disgusting explanation on how those holes get in the cheese. Yeah, well, the town of Green Bay is going to have to explain that to Tom Grossi, who at this point is in jail for fornicating cheese in Green Bay. Jihad Campbell will be an explosive offensive terrorizer. Yeah. He falls to the Eagles, the linebacker out of Alabama. I think there was a shoulder issue, a shoulder injury is kind of why he fell. Going to Philly, doesn't have to play right away. Even if he starts the season on the PUP list, which is, I guess, what some teams were concerned about, they'll just plug and play him. They have Nakobe Dean, who got injured late last season. Zach Bond's there. And now they also probably add their best player available in Campbell. But it feels like, the Philly was so good. Their defense was so good. You add another dynamic player to their defense. Vic Fangio will get the most out of Jihad Campbell. If you have an opinion, Warren or Loveland? Okay, Bodyzilla. This was another interesting move, right? I don't think anybody predicted that Colston Loveland would go ahead of Tyler Warren in this draft. I think Tyler Warren has been the consensus number one tight end in this class since like last college football season. Will Keys, my writing partner, he texted me one day. He's like, "Are you watching this Penn State tight end right now? The Broncos should get him." So we've had our eye on Tyler Warren for a while. Colston Loveland, though, became a more feasible option for the Broncos to draft a tight end. Because before the Broncos signed Evan Ingram, tight end was a huge need for Denver. So we'd been following this closely. I think this is going to be a fascinating storyline to watch how it plays out over the next, 3 years. I trust Ben Johnson and the Bears offense. And if they think Colston Loveland is a better fit for what they want to do, go for it. I feel bad for Tyler Warren having to go to the Colts right now because they don't have a quarterback who I feel like can get him the ball as often as he needs to be an effective player on the field. There's just so many questions about Anthony Richardson at this point. And there's still questions with Caleb Williams, don't get me wrong, but it's fair to say we believe Caleb Williams is going to be better than Anthony Richardson. So I think Colston Loveland is going to be better right away than Tyler Warren, but I don't think that has anything to do with Tyler Warren, if that makes sense. I think he's just going to a tougher or more difficult situation for him to produce because the Colts offense, we don't know who it is yet. Is Daniel Jones going to be throwing Tyler Warren passes week 1 next season? Is there going to be an actual competition between Dan Jones and Anthony Richardson? We don't freaking know, do we? They got, Anthony Richardson is a quarterback who can get you plays with his legs. They got Jonathan Taylor. They got 2 players that you kind of that are going to get yards the way Ty Warren would as well. So I don't know. It's interesting. I think it's a good pick for the Colts, but it's really going to depend on how their QB situation shakes out. Do you think the Browns drink the stupid juice and draft Shedeur? Your mustache and 5 o'clock shadow was a good look for you. Thank you. Don't worry. 5 o'clock shadow comes back strong. No, I think the Browns are playing this draft very smartly right now. They traded with the Jags. Now, that wasn't a surprise because that info started getting presented to us by, the NFL Network and ESPN shortly before the draft. The Jags falling in love with Travis Hunter. Very cool. I love Travis Hunter. I think he's going to be incredible. I hope he helps Jacksonville. I hope he doesn't just wither there because it's, you just never know with the Jags. But the Browns adding all that draft capital to trade with the Jags, you have to feel good about that, Cleveland. They didn't answer their quarterback question in round 1. In round 2, they've got what? The first 2 picks in the first 4 there. They pick at 33 and they pick at 36. We thought maybe they would package some of those picks to move up into the first. Now, if Jackson Dart if he becomes a very good quarterback, yeah, Cleveland, you're going to look stupid. Then you pick at the top of the 3rd. Do you have any back in? You got another 3rd there. So they got 4 picks they're going to do today. If they took Shedeur at 36, I think that's a good thing. I don't think drafting Shedeur Sanders is a bad thing. I think he can play football. Now, you don't have to love his brand and everything about him, and I know that drives people nuts. I think his dad being Deion Sanders hurt him in this draft. Probably hurt him on how they approached this draft. And he's a little tough to evaluate because of where he played at CU. CU was a 1-win football team when he came in. When Deion came in, they got better, and then they improved again. Offensive line play, very dicey at Colorado. I think he's a tough eval. But I think the Browns taking him wouldn't be a bad thing. I think the Raiders drafting him would be a good thing for Shedeur to go mentor behind Geno Smith. Plenty of time to develop. And then there's Jalen Milroe, who was at the draft, didn't go in the first round. Maybe that's a guy the Browns covet as well. Pretty hungover, but I'm still happy my Panthers picked T-Mac. Yes, Panthers drafting Tet McMillan. Another weapon for Bryce Young. Got 2 young receivers now. I think that's a good pick, Kyle. I agree. Smokescreen with Jalen Walker, picked best player available and let defense fall to them in a deep draft. Are we a smart team now? Well, we'll see. We'll see how the Panthers draft falls in the next 2 rounds, what defensive players they get. Where are you going? Where's Carolina? Wait, where do you pick in the second? Carolina? Do you not have a second round pick? Is that part of all your trades and shit? Fuck. Well, you don't have a second round pick, so that kind of sucks. Knowing you need defense. I don't know if I'm not willing to say the Panthers are smart. Not yet. Not yet. I'm buzzing about the Patriots pick, and Liverpool is winning the Premier League on Sunday. It's a great day in Sully's world. Yeah, I think the Patriots did the smart thing. Will Campbell, if he was their best tackle, they took the best tackle. Will said he would die protecting Drake May. That's exactly what you want in a dude. So making your offensive line better, priority. You had pick 4, smart pick for New England. Scatterboo to the Broncos in the 2nd or 3rd. I think 3rd, earliest. I don't think he's going in the 2nd round. There's a lot of running backs I think most teams have graded ahead of Scatterboo that we will see go in the 2nd round here. If the Broncos can find a way to get Travion Henderson today, I will be very, very happy. Upset, the Steelers didn't draft Shannon Sharp. He would have been a great fit. The Steelers, that was a surprise. I mean, not to Steelers fans. You guys were literally calling out defensive tackle to the Steelers during our live stream during the draft. So you called that. Way to know your team. I think if a team's going to look stupid for not taking Shedeur Sanders, it's the Steelers. I think that would have been a good place for him to go. I do. And they don't pick again till the third round. So if the Steelers had a second round pick today, and you could easily see them kind of moving to get him, or if he falls to the Steelers in the third round, which would be insane, they're hinting Shedeur could fall to the third round now, though. That's feasible. If they get him in the third round, they're going to look like geniuses. Because then the where you take him, you get incredible value. They still have ties to Jalen Milroe. I don't know who they actually like. Maybe they're just waiting to see if Jalen Milroe's available. But yeah, they need a quarterback. They better pray Aaron Rodgers comes and plays for them. Because right now they don't have shit at QB. And they said they will have 2 quarterbacks on their roster, by training camp. I think there's other guys. They could be a Tyler Shuck team. Maybe they're a Will Howard team. There's other guys. And if Shedeur's fallen to those guys at that point, you got to assume most teams value Shedeur as like a second, third round guy. And that's who the rest of the dudes are. But yeah, we'll see what they do. Good morning. Still miss Tom. Very happy Bills fan this morning. We got a fast corner. Yeah, Bills draft Maxwell Haristen. And I like this dude. I'm learning a lot about him right now. He was hyping up every guy who got drafted. So he's a good team player. Very supportive. Very emotional when he got picked. I think he felt like the guy who's the most excited to be in the NFL to get drafted. Feels like a nice pick for you, Buffalo. I miss Tom too. Tom just texted me. He was sleeping. He was up until 4 a.m. I'm live now, mother liquor. Oh, liquor. There we go. I just texted Tom back. We'll see what happens there. We'll see what happens to Tom. Hold on. Checking something. Beep, 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 beep. Buffering. Okay. We'll see if Tom joins. It's private on your channel. No pressure. There we go. All right. So sports media is low on the Chiefs this upcoming season. Some say they won't even make the playoffs. What are your thoughts? I think the Chiefs will make the playoffs. I think they addressed their biggest need at pick 32. Got a guy that's probably going to upgrade their offensive line instantly. And that was really their biggest problem through the course of the season. Rashee Rice will be back at some point. Xavier Worthy came on nicely. We'll see if they draft a tight end now, too. We thought Mason Taylor might go at the back end here. Maybe they make a move to get a tight end. We'll see. I wanted Shamar Stewart, Cincy screwing Baltimore over. Yeah, that draft pick made sense for the Bengals. They had an edge player. They needed it. We've got questions about Trey Hendrickson still. We don't know where he's going, what he's doing. But yeah, that felt like a nice grab for the Bengals. Very happy with the Hampton. Oh, yeah. Fuck you, Los Angeles. You silly Los Angeles Chargers. Oh. Yeah, it's, and I don't want to knock the Jahdae Barron pick for the Broncos because I think it's going to work out. But watching the Raiders draft Ashton Genty, when we thought Denver might try and trade up ahead of the Raiders to get Genty, or if if the Raiders went in a different direction, the Broncos were going to get ahead of the Bears to draft Genty. And then going, okay, we can still get Omari and Hampton, and then we don't take him. And then the Chargers do. You got both of your division rivals taking running backs you had fantasies about, and you get to go watch them play in different places. I think Genty obviously is the best back in this draft. Going to the Raiders, I assume that's going to work out. But Omari and Hampton's going to go play behind a very good offensive line. You still need interior help. The Chargers do on their offensive line, but you've got two tackles that are studs there. It just feels like it's going to work out. Los Angeles feels like that was a good pick. Packers finally take a first-round receiver, Matthew Golden. Needed a guy, and you got a guy. So I like it. Tom's going to join in like 10 minutes. As he's waking up, he's going to get a connection on his phone. He will be joining us. So I'll let him talk about Matthew Golden, but I think that's a nice pick for the Packers. Add a lot of speed. Hopefully he can be your number one receiver this season. That's kind of what the Packers need, a guy to emerge as the dude. I think that can happen. I thought the Broncos with Matthew Golden there, I thought if it wasn't Hampton, it was going to be Golden at that point for Denver. So I think it's a good pick. If supers are dictating, then please make fun of the Bears for taking a tight end. Thanks for hosting a show this morning. Much love from Wisconsin. Yeah, I know this pick is a little confusing. I think it's going to be a good pick, though, Alexander. I think Colston Loveland is a good football player. I think he's going to open up a part of the field for the Bears that maybe wasn't open last year. The middle. I think it just gives Caleb Williams another really nice weapon there in Chicago, and I think Ben Johnson's going to use him correctly. Now, could Tyler Warren have done that? Sure. Was tight end their biggest need? No. But I kind of like it. Maybe Tom had a Freaky Friday and he's possessed by somebody else. Maybe he's in jail, like I suggested. Maybe he's in jail. Ravens getting back. No fly zone. D for the devil magic. Yeah, Ravens add a really nice safety. Malachi Starks. Most believe best safety in this draft. Feels just like a good fit for Malachi going to the Ravens. Gets to play next to Kyle Hamilton on a good defense. They have good corners. I think the Ravens secondary got better. How's it going, Perna? Hope you are as happy with your pick as I am with ours. I am, Guillermo. I think you got a very good player in Ashton Genty. Congrats. It feels like the Raiders are not going to fuck up their draft for the first time in 5 years. I don't know. I don't know about last year's draft class. We're still grading that. At this point, Texans just going to draft O-line, which I don't hate. Yeah. Protect CJ Stroud. Get better protection up front for CJ. You got more draft capital by moving back. Go guard, go tackle, go guard, go tackle. Your defense is good. Maybe throw a receiver in there, right? Just because every receiver you have always gets hurt. And there's going to be a run on receivers early in the second round. That is going to happen. There's still good receivers available. You might take a receiver at 34, Houston. I think it was Dan Jeremiah saying there's going to be a run on receivers early in this second round. This guy, Tom in jail cell, says you should talk about the Packers pick and how Love will be the MVP. If Love doesn't look better with Matthew Golden, then you're going to be asking questions about Jordan Love. That's what I'll say. The Packers have so many receivers, so many talented receivers, maybe too many receivers. Green and golden era, go Pack, go. Green and gold. I'm a Colts fan. We drafted Warren as tight end 1 or QB 3. Yeah, is he going to be your emergency quarterback? Glad no one was dealing with Dion's BS. Also, Bears now have 2 tight ends named Cole, so thanks for that, polls. Cole and Colston. Chicago Bears fans, when Caleb Williams looks much better as a passer, and it's because of Colston Loveland, you're going to like the pick. You're going to like the way your offense looks. I guarantee it. Seeing Tom's Pack and your Broncos draft Longhorns for your first round picks makes me happy. UT fan, hope they work out for both your teams. Oh, yeah, they're both Texas guys. Broncos and Packers both went Texas. Yeah, Texas fans, I think, really like both of those picks, which is cool. I mean, Matthew McConaughey, again, really likes the Jahdae Barron pick. And if McConaughey likes it, I like it. Perna holding down the fort while Tom pounds cheese. That's right. Tom is a cheese fucker. Old cheese fucking Tom. Texans actually going to have competition for the division. Maybe. We'll see. You know, we haven't really talked about Cam Ward going 1 to the Titans because we've known it for so long. But I do think that's a nice pick for Tennessee. Clearly, Cam Ward, miles above all the other quarterbacks in terms of how they had him evaluated in this draft. Nobody said this was a reach for the Titans. Teams tried to trade up with the Titans to possibly get Cam Ward. It was a safe pick. It was a good pick. But I still don't trust Tennessee yet. They're another team that I think needs to add a receiver in this draft as well. Because they have old receivers on their roster. Ravens do it again. PFF number 8 prospect at 27. I was hoping we traded Andrews to Denver at 20 to get him ahead of Minnesota, but he fell to them at 27. Boom. Yeah, we'll take Mark Andrews. We'll take Mark Andrews off your hands, Baltimore, gladly. We're not going to give up much for him, but we will take him. Do you think the Bills made the right choice drafting Max Harrison? Yes. They needed a corner. I think a lot of draft people like him. I don't know a lot about Kentucky football, but I like it. Now you need edge help, right? Defensive line or edge. That's what the Bills need to do next. You want to be able to get more pressure on opposing quarterbacks without blitzing. That's what the Bills want to do. Man, the Chiefs needed a tackle, but I really wanted Burden as a Mizzou fan. Yeah, Luther Burden's still available. He's fallen because it's like some character concerns. I forget what those are, but that's why he's still available. Explosive, quick player. You could see Burden going to the Browns, to the Texans, to the Titans. Raiders could add a receiver as well. They could add a receiver. Patriots could add a receiver. That's why we think there's going to be a run on receivers, right? Then the Bears have a couple picks here. So, Oh, guess who broke out of prison, everybody? Mr. Cheesefucker himself. Oh, wait, hold on. What the heck? Add to stage.
Oh, there we go.
Wait.
What's going on?
There you are. Now
how are you?
Welcome to the show, Mr. Grossi.
We did it.
Tired at all.
Dude, legit, I woke up to, are we doing a show? And that was like an hour and a half ago. And I was like, that's on me. That was my bad.
No, I told everybody, we've done this for 4.5 years now?
Yeah.
This is the first time. I don't know where Tom is. And I was like, I guarantee he's sleeping. I said, I bet he was up super late.
Yep.
He's probably sleeping.
Yep.
But then we tried to make up some stories, and you were arrested for breaking into a cheese factory and then making love to cheese. So that's the story.
If there's, it's a good code, right? If I ever get charged with something falsely, if it has to do with consuming or, fornicating with cheese, it's a lie because I'll literally die. So at least that's something. How you doing, bud?
You've never had the allergic reaction to cheese specifically on that area of your body. So,
and you know what? It's Wisconsin cheese too, right? Like if you're gonna go, you go all the way. You go out.
Yeah. How's your week been? first, and also you got to be excited about Matthew Golden, right?
Yeah, and so Johnny got to be there live, like in the draft theater when he got drafted. So
nice.
I was in downtown Green Bay, so I was chilling in the studio, trying to make things work. But in terms of like the experience, dude, like I saw the crowd shots after, and just like was able to hear everything. Like it's insane, dude. And Mark Murphy literally going up there to be like, for the first time, 23 years, he got that crowd going. So it was super cool. I mean, this entire week has been crazy because, I got here Monday night. So each day has gotten progressively like more and more busy and more people are coming into town. But this is also something that's 9 years in the making. This is something that literally, like, the entire time that I've talked to Mark Murphy, he's been trying to get the draft here. And then for him to like announce the first pick, for the Packers, it's a receiver. And then like, man, like everything coming together, like it is, I'm so happy, like just for this city, because like all the, there are some folks that are just like, oh, it's in Green Bay, no one's going to show up. And, so, well,
200,000 plus people made it up there, Tom.
Yeah, I think 200,000 made it up there. So that was they had to literally close down like admission to the actual draft theater, which is just a huge parking lot outside of Green Bay. And it's not just because like they weren't ready logistically. It was just a matter of like, there's a ton of people that showed up. Yeah. So legitimate, like it's more, you had 200,000 people show up, and we got less than 200,000 people who live here. So it's pretty dope.
It's a cool place to have it for Packers fans who are very loyal. To just a small town you wouldn't think would necessarily get it. And then while Mark Murphy was up there, I was like, he's doing a pretty good job. This is nice. I was like, this is getting a little long-winded. Just tell me who the pick is. But like, it's his last thing he's going to be doing as a Packer. Like, right? Like he's in the retirement mode. So he gets that moment. And then by getting to say something we haven't done since 2002, I was like, oh, he just aced it. He just aced his pick.
Oh, he crushed it. Yeah, no, he 1,000,000%.
Right away, like, yes, finally,
dude,
receiver.
The pop from that crowd was like incredible. Like it legitimately was amazing. Nice. So Matthew Golden, dude, like it's super exciting. And for the Packers, forgive my skepticism, I was like, oh, they're probably not going to draft a wide receiver in the first round because they haven't done it in 23 years. And on top of that, too, like I thought there was going to have to be certain guys that fall. Like I could think like, oh, they go Matthew Golden, in the second. And plus they have other needs, right? So they need to go get a pass rusher. They need to go get a corner. And I think for the fact that they still drafted him, and he's 5'11", he's the same size as Jaden Reed, they must think like he is really, really special, and I think that that's really cool. For them to go offense. I feel like at this point, like with the offense, I don't want to say like there's very minimal excuses, but like you went out and you got pieces, obviously Christian Watson's hurt right now, he'll come back later, but yeah, I feel like this offense like has to be ready to go this upcoming season. And then I imagine we're gonna be focusing on defense the rest of the time.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. I was surprised Golden fell past the Chargers. I thought when the Broncos didn't take him, because it was like Omarion Hampton or Golden. Then we go corner. We're like, what?
Well,
but then Golden falls to you guys. I think that's nice. Hampton going to the Chargers scares me a little bit. Yes.
I love how your strategy, because like everyone and their mother, right? It's Omarion Hampton is going to the Broncos. And then you guys are like, psych, we're just going to have the greatest secondary to ever take the field. Like the fact that Barron fell to you guys.
Yeah.
And like you were able to grab him. I'm like, holy crap, man. Like that secondary is just going to be insanely good. Like if Fufanga can be healthy too, like the safety unit's going to be good. Like, we're bringing back the no-fly zone. Like it's going to be a time.
It's a nice pick. It's like, I think the Broncos were quite shocked that he was still available.
Yeah.
There's gonna be people who try to spin this as a bad move for the Broncos, but if you take the guy who is the consensus, I'm gonna say best corner in this draft, because Travis Hunter plays two positions, right?
Sure.
And I think Travis Hunter was the best corner, but the guy who only plays corner falls to at 20. That's nice. And when Riley Moss was hurt last year, the Broncos secondary fell off. We streamed the Levi Wallace game together. Like it was not good. So adding that, having a lot of good corners is a nice thing. And now I want a running back just like the way you want defense. And hopefully that happens in the second round.
And like, there's still options, right? And like, that's the thing too. Like, we have 7 more rounds. Like, we're rocking. Yeah, I understand about the Lions. Sorry, I have no control over super chats with my telephone. Yeah, the Lions, making that, they're building it up on the trenches, and like he's going to be a good run stopper. I think like that's what you want there. The guy like Michael Williams, like the fact that he went super early, like he went to the 49ers, right? The 11. Like, that's another guy who's a great run stopper. And if he'd be able to figure out his pass rush game, it's going to be really, really good. But yeah, there were some head scratchers that I had last night of like, ooh, why did these teams go this way? The Buccaneers, that was a little bit of okay. I would have thought that they would have gone like edge or a linebacker or maybe address their secondary. And Igbuka's ready to go. Like, I think that they could throw him in right there, and he's a third round wide receiver 3. But like they just drafted McMillan. What was it, last year? Like they just drafted him. There was plenty of guys that they needed on the board. So I'm wondering if they're kind of just, hey, Godwin and Evans, I know they just re-signed him, but, getting a little older, right?
Yeah.
And trying to make sure that offense is going to be going. But yeah, that one was a little bit of a head scratcher. I'm curious what you thought about the Panthers.
I will say there was a Buccaneers fan during the live stream was like, we're probably going to go defense, but I hope we take a receiver. And I was like, that seems stupid. And then they got one. Panthers, Ted McMillan.
Yeah.
I think it's like, it feels to me kind of like the Broncos situation where that's a team that you want. They need more firepower on offense. That is certain. But they drafted a receiver last year in Leggett. Not sure how he's going to develop. Yeah. And their defense was such dug a shit last year that you're like, picking at 8, grab a stud defender.
Yeah.
But like giving a dude Bryce Young to throw to, I don't think it's bad. Yeah. It's just, how are they going to build their defense now through the rest of the draft, right?
Yeah. I mean, I would imagine they're going to be another one that's going to go deep. And there's edge rushers that are like Ezra Raku's still like hanging out there. Like, they have, in the beginning of day 2, I would not be surprised if you're going to start to see a run on some of these guys, like these pass rushers that are still on the board. Like, Scorton's still on there too. Did Green get drafted last night?
Who? Oh,
Mike Green? No, right? So he's still on there too. So, I mean, you have 3 guys who were consensus, like they were floating around the first round. So, yeah, I mean, it's just interesting because like McMillan has a great catch radius. Like, he can just catch a ton of, and it doesn't have to be the most accurate ball either. But yeah, that one was okay. But dude, some big trades last night. There are some teams that took some big ass swings.
Yeah. The
Jaguars?
The Jags, they moved up.
Oh, I have to find my phone charger. I'm so sorry. It's at like 7%. Can you see how prepared I am for today?
Yeah. Thank you, Justin. I see now the Panthers have pick 57, so they can get somebody in the second. The Vikings pick gives us one of the most complete O-lines. And yeah, it's a great pick for Minnesota. Interior, offensive line help, exactly what you needed. They can still get secondary later, Minnesota.
Yeah.
Broncos finally replacing Fat Surtain. Yeah, Kevin. Surtain just can't keep the weight off. Got to have his replacement. So stoked to see a top 5 defense in Denver get some balls and solidify a joust for number one all next year. DB Money L. Wish the Chiefs had traded out of the first and taken Sanders. AFC West is insane and competitive. Yes, James. Yes.
Sorry, at the bottom of my back. Sorry.
Yeah, I think Ted McMillan's going to be a good receiver. He's big, 6'3", 6'4", something like that. Great hands, great jump ball dude. I think the question some teams have about Ted McMillan is his effort consistently throughout the course of a game. But
sorry,
I think it's hopefully it's good. Hopefully your offense is better, Carolina, and you spend the rest of the draft addressing your defense.
I mean, I think that's where they're gonna go, and I don't think it's a bad pick either. I think it's similar to the Buccaneers, right? Like I like Ibuka a lot because I was looking at him for potentially the Packers, because he was a guy that was going to be ready to go, but it just was like, okay, you have some other needs here. I didn't know that. Falcons, dude, holy cow, Falcons!
They doubled down on trying to get to the quarterback.
Finally, it feels like that there's some teams this year, they're like, hey, I know our team, our fans have been asking for this for forever, sometimes in this case, 2 decades. But yeah, first of all, Walker falling to them was okay, I really like that move. I'm curious how they're going to utilize him, right? If they're going to stand him up, what have you. But then, to go back into the first round, you give up your first round pick next year, but to go get Pierce, who had pretty damn good collegiate career, because he was another guy that I looked at for the Packers. His win rate was insane. I think it was over 20%. He pretty damn good player. And now if they hit on this, Philadelphia did for their secondary last year, you're going to see a massive improvement. Even if one of these guys winds up hitting, they've needed pass rusher for a hot minute. So I think that this is an interesting move from Atlanta, but they're trying to make it work.
Yeah, I think it helps them instantly. And I mean, the Rams getting a first rounder next year out of the Falcons, that's a good move for the Rams. And I think the Falcons will be good. But if they're not, if the Falcons are bad and the Rams get, say, just even in a top 20 pick from Atlanta, that's a premium move for the Rams, who the Falcons had to trade with to get to 26. But yeah, you got to be excited if you're a Falcons fan. This is I was saying, we thought they were going to do this last year. Draft defense up in that top 10. They went Penix. They're doing it a year later. Hopefully it pays dividends for them.
If it works out, right, and Penix is their guy, and again, it's still going to be a question mark because they're still paying Kirk Cousins. But if that's their guy and they're able to rebuild that pass rush, then I don't think there's going to be too many complaints from Falcons fans.
Yeah. We'll see on Shedeur where he goes.
Real quick with the Jaguars.
Yeah.
So obviously they come out of the gate swinging. They go and they give up next year's first round pick. They gave up their second round pick this year, and I think it was their fourth as well.
Yeah.
So someone was asking this, and they were like, okay, because I just said it's a lot to give up, right? It's a lot. They're going up and getting, premium guy, premium pick. And they're like, what if the Jaguars are in win now mode? Is it seen as oh man, this is a big swing? And I'm like, are they in win now mode? Because I think that the Jaguars, what we were trying to figure out, for this upcoming season, their defense was absolute garbage, last year. It was not good. And, addressing this now with Hunter, it's going to get significantly better, you would think. It's just, I feel like there's so many question marks on that team. I don't know. It was just a really big swing. I respect it. It's like the Texans saying hey, we're going to go back-to-back picks here, when we got Anderson and Stroud. But yeah, I'm curious, what your take on that. I know that you love Hunter.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to depend on how they play him, obviously. I think I was reading today, they're going to start him in the receiver room, and which would be surprising to me.
Yeah.
But I think if they play him on defense at corner, it's smart. And then you add him into the offense as you kind of need throughout the course of the season. I like the fit with him on offense with Liam Cohen. So it's just, when you're a team picking that high, there's reasons for it. They would have been, picking at 5, and they do have more needs on defense, but I believe in Travis Hunter, and I think people will be like, fuck, that guy's so good. They gave up a lot to get him.
Yeah.
But he's worth it. We're going to say he's worth it.
I mean, there's also some drafts I really, really liked. And of course, we're not going to know if these guys pan out until, potentially years from now. But I will say, I never thought that I would say this, one of my favorite teams from last night, and the Cleveland Browns. The Browns being on the other end of that trade, getting some great draft capital, an additional second this year. They go get the first, and they get Mason Graham, who, you and I were talking about like early on about getting, potentially Abdul Carter and then, Myles Garrett and having them opposite, whatever. There was rumors about going quarterback, going to get Mason Graham, a guy who can like clog up the middle, and he's a really damn good defensive lineman. Dude, like if their defensive line is just insanely good, they still have the option to go get Jahdae if they really want to.
Yeah.
And the fact that they were able to load up on draft capital, which they have needed, especially after the Watson trade. Yeah, I think it's I like what they did last night because they're building for the future in a couple ways.
Yeah, they add a lot of value. They get an extra first rounder next year, right? Because of this. And Graham next to Myles Garrett, I find fascinating. I think it's going to help Myles Garrett tremendously. They're going to be better against the run because of Mason Graham.
Yeah.
It is a big impact for their defense. Yes, there's still the QB question, but maybe we're talking about Joe Flacco throwing for 4,000 yards next season.
That's it, baby. Someone asked about the Lions. Yeah, I mean, Lions fans, that your team is apparently allergic to, getting edge rusher. But going at Williams, he's the run stopper at the very worst. He's like really good at stopping the run. So, he has a ton of tackles for a loss. And I think you're just building in the trenches. And again, like there are still guys that are on the clock that they want to go get. And I mentioned this yesterday, but this is also sports media versus what's actually going on like in the draft room, right? Sure. There is going to be a disconnect that's there because you could take your best guesses, right? So like with Goody, these are the kinds of corners that he likes to go get, the wide receivers he likes to go get, these are kind of O-linemen that he traditionally likes to go get. But the Packers did something they haven't done in 23 years, right? Sometimes if there's going to be exceptions. But at the same time, like you don't know what their grades are. They might have a guy like Ezeraku for whatever reason as a second round guy. And so if they're going like best player available, and they had just had Williams on their board, that's where that's going to go.
Yeah. 330 pounds of beef for that D-line. That just feels like a Lions move.
Yeah.
Edge isn't as much of a need once Aiden Hutchinson comes back. And they still need an edge, but like I think when you're adding to the defensive line or the edge position, I kind of see them interchangeably because if your defensive line is better in the trench part of it, it helps your edge rushers. And this to me just feels like a nice Dan Campbell, Detroit Lions beef up front, and it's going to help the other two spots. And there's still some edge rushers available. So,
yes,
No,
there are. I mean, again, like they can go get them. And again, this is the time to like, this is a great defensive line draft. So they're going to have options here. Yeah, this Sanders thing, man. Like
we'll see how it plays out, man.
The Giants trading back up to get Dart, I was like, "Ooh, okay, that's a little bit tough for the ego there." But like, even take a team like the Cleveland Browns, right? If the Browns want to decide to roll the dice and go get Jahdae Sanders, I don't think anyone's going to complain. Like they got him with a second round pick, and they have another one this year. And just be like, "Hey, like we're going to take a shot at quarterback and see if this is our guy."
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there's Jahdae. I think he's going to be gone today, but. Yeah, I'm curious to see where he
might
winds
not
up.
Go in the second, though. That's
you
what's
don't think
kind of
so?
Crazy. I think he will, but they're saying don't be surprised if he goes in the third. I think a humbling experience isn't a bad thing, and I'm not saying he definitely needs it, but I think the Browns would be lucky to get him in the second.
Yeah,
I think the Raiders could use him. And I think the Steelers are in the third, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think he has. I don't think Jahdae believes he has to start right away either to address that question. But
no, I mean, like that's actually kind of why I like the Jackson Dart pick too, right? Like Jackson Dart, you throw him in there, you're going to be behind Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson. I mentioned this last night. You can learn behind him. I don't know how much you're going to learn, but like you're not thrown into the fire. Right.
The joke I was saying was Dart's going to learn how to throw picks and take sacks, so he's screwed.
Behind that O-line, they might be doing that anyway. But I Jahdae is going to be the kind of talk today, but I'm curious to see how that's going to be handled. They're going to be, it's going good, interesting. Yeah, you going to go get the Scat Man?
Not in a second. I'll take Scat in third or fourth. I think they'll target Travion Henderson or Judkins, the Broncos. Yeah. I don't know if they're going to move up. It feels like they need to get the running back maybe they really like, but there's still a bunch of backs left. Only 2 did go in the first round. So,
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, someone mentioned about the Buccaneers before. Yeah, it was just a little bit, just with all the guys that are on the board, it was a little weird.
I don't think Arch Manning's guaranteed to go in the next draft.
I'm so sorry.
Ooh, I like the echo.
I tried to hook it up to the laptop so we could get the whatchamacallit. I could get through the super chats for you, but I'm so sorry I cannot.
I'll get through them right now. Bears, I don't think Arch Manning's guaranteed to be in the next draft. Bears used the top 10 tight end. Dumb. Browns traded down, got a haul, and still got who they wanted. Smart.
Yeah.
I think Colston Loveland to the Bears isn't bad. Here's the thing. If Bears fans are conflicted about this, I think that's a good sign for the Chicago Bears. Usually the Bears fans get too excited about their draft pick. It doesn't work out. Now they kind of hate it. Probably smart.
I think what happens with Loveland, right? You could look at the thing that why they might go get him is because he's a pretty damn good blocker, right? So like you have that element, like because you could talk about like going interior offensive line, right? Like running back, like there are some positions that they could target. But to get Loveland especially in the run game, he's a pretty damn good blocker. So for them to go out and get a guy who could, of course, go out and catch some passes, but who also could effectively help them in the run game, I imagine they're going to be drafting, a round 2 or round 3 running back. So, yeah, I don't think it's the worst. I think the biggest surprise was Warren was the consensus first tight end off the board.
Yeah.
And you had him fall right into the Colts' lap, who I don't think the Colts could be happier. They didn't have to do anything, and they got the guy that they wanted.
Yeah. I think Donovan Jackson to Minnesota, good.
You saw the Rams game, right?
Yeah.
Like they're beefing up their interior. I don't think you could have too many good offensive linemen. They need to go DB, right, and go and get a safety. But yeah, protecting your brand new quarterback, and JJ McCarthy, who just come off a major injury, I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and if the Raiders add a receiver here at the top of the second, I think Geno's going to have some nice weapons. Which NFC North team do you think did the best in this draft? That's not the Packers. Which draft pick do you hate the most? Because you're like, I kind of like that for them.
Yeah. I mean, the Vikings, going and getting an interior guy. I think that's just okay, that's just smart. It's just smart football. So, yeah, I'd probably lean to. But listen, the Lions didn't break my heart, at least yesterday. We still have plenty of rounds to go. But, yeah, that was kind of nice. Oh, my God, Campbell falling to the Eagles. What is the rich getting richer? Dude. Yeah. So that's what I wanted to say. I was hyping this up last night. Simmons falling to 30. First of all, the fact that the Chiefs were like, all right, let's just get an additional 5th-round pick. They're able to do that. But Simmons falling to them, if he is able to just get healthy, and recover from that injury, holy crap, man. They just got an amazing left tackle on the last pick of the 1st round. If this is 100% worth the gamble for the Chiefs, because the upside is insane. Because they got the best left tackle in the draft, if he's able to recover from that injury.
Josh Simmons, you're saying best left tackle in the draft?
Simmons, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You're going to a team, whether it's the Eagles or the Chiefs, it's a luxury pick for those teams, basically. They can take a guy who doesn't have to be on the field right away because they know they're going to be good. Teams picking up in those top picks, they need a guy to come in and help them day one.
Yeah.
So if a guy's a little banged up and maybe he doesn't play for a while, you can wait that out if you're the Eagles, if you're the Chiefs. It's annoying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really annoying.
Yeah. Yeah. But I do Hampton going to the Chargers, especially after he's mocked in the Broncos so many times. Dude, I know that they need pass catchers, but Hampton, I think that's going to be fun. That's going to be a lot of fun. The AFC West should be fun next year. I think it's going to be a lot more competitive.
It's going to be competitive. And if hopefully that's what actually makes the Chiefs sweat in December. It's not that they necessarily fall off the face of the earth, which I pray that they do. It's just that the rest of the division got better. So the records are closer and it's tougher for them because the competition's tougher within that division. But
yeah. No, I get that. Yeah, no, someone was asking about Michael Williams. Dude, as a pass rusher, he can just get better. Then you hope that production goes up, but he's immediately going to be able to help you in the run game. So he's a great run defender because he was a guy that I looked at a lot for the Packers in case he fell. But nope, he went top 15, nearly top 10.
Yeah.
So
this is good, OJ. Raiders got to release, are going to release Genty in a few years. Going to come to the Broncos, and he's going to turn in Saquon Barkley. Love it, OJ.
Yeah, I'm very happy that Genty did not go to the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, I'm sure you are.
Yeah.
I feel the opposite about him going to the Raiders.
Hello. Great to see you. Sorry I'm late.
I'm going to burn through these. I love how Tom was wearing number 23 when the Packers picked wide receiver in the first round in 23 years, while both Tom and draft in Green Bay.
And it was also pick 23.
Woo-wee.
A lot of 23s last night.
Yeah.
A lot of 23s. Someone's asking about Haristen for the sorry.
Yeah,
Did you say something or no?
No.
Oh, okay. This is just my own echo. Yeah, Harrison for the Bills, obviously the fastest guy in the draft. He also, he's a really good corner. He was a guy that was mocked to the Packers a lot, but Goody, that would have been a big swing for them, considering he usually is just not drafting guys because he's 183. I think he's a little bit of a smaller dude. But to bring that speed to the secondary, I still think I would like Buffalo to go get an edge rusher. But again, there's options still left on the board, and I think Harrison, he stays healthy, they're going to be dynamic.
Yeah, I think they needed a corner. Hi, Cole. Yeah, Howie could draft a fart, but Howie would also turn that fart into a Pro Bowl player, Kevin. So
that's true.
First fart selected to the Pro Bowl because of Howie Roseman.
I wouldn't be worried about the Texans.
No.
They just need to go get O-line.
They'll do it now.
And they got a bunch of day 2 stuff, right? From the Cleveland. Bunch of day 2 picks.
The Texans got 1 pick, 2 picks in the second.
Yeah. And they're right near the beginning of the day 2.
Or wait, who they get next year? What's that?
Right, they're near the top of day 2, yeah?
Yeah, they're up at pick 2. They got pick 2.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm saying. They can go get an O-lineman that they like right there. They don't have to move that far. So I think it's as long as the Texans go get O-line, I think they're gonna be all right.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe if Higgins is there at the end of the second.
Hampton's good. Will's comp for Hampton is Willis McGahee in terms of his running style. I think you guys got a good running back.
Bro, Clay Matthews.
That was funny. That was pretty.
There was
funny.
Let him on a journey.
Stuck. Yeah, thank you, Clay.
Let him on a journey.
I'm not mad about Jahdae Barron. I love it. I think it was just took a minute to digest what had just happened because it was such a big surprise.
Yeah, dude, your secondary is going to be disgusting. I mean,
have a great secondary.
Barron's so good, and on top of that, being a rookie corner is really hard. But to be in that secondary room behind some of the best corners in the NFL, learning behind PS2, I think you're going to be all right.
Yeah, playing opposite him, he'll be good. They've got starters on that defense at the position. He's got time to work into it.
Yep.
Yes, I'm surprised ultimately that Shedeur fell out of the first, but not surprised because everybody was saying surprised if only one quarterback goes in the first round.
Yeah. I don't think we're having this conversation as loudly if Jackson Dart didn't get drafted.
Sure.
You know what I mean? That just is that's going to be fuel to the fire just because, there was another quarterback taken in front of him and they were traded for him. But yeah, I imagine he's going to go sometime today. I would imagine.
Yeah. Jaden Higgins, that's another receiver available early there. Browns, Texans, Titans, Raiders, Patriots, they could all draft receiver there. Anyway.
I'm just waiting for the Packers to trade their 6th round pick to the Lions and just ruin my life. I'm just waiting for it at this point.
Yeah, that would be rough.
It's fine. It's fine.
Well, thanks for joining us, Tom. You've been crushing it at the draft all week. Everybody's so excited for you. Good luck with your pick. I know you'll be live streaming the second round later tonight, right?
Yeah, we'll be doing second and third tonight. About like 15 minutes before that starts. And then tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central to around 11, we might go a little bit later. The Bell and Health parking lot's right near Lodge Kohler. You don't have to go in the draft experience. We're going to do the fan event. I met a lot of folks yesterday. It was great to see you. And then we're going to rock with that for a few hours before heading into the draft theater.
Yeah. Based on talent, yes, Bobby. But there's some character stuff with him. Again, I can't remember what it is, but not totally shocked.
I'm curious how they utilize Luther. So I'd be okay with passing on. But now the Packers, I think, are just going to go full swing at on defense. So
there you go. Build up.
We got here.
We will have winners and losers up later today. Thank you guys for joining us this morning as we navigate the draft. It's always a little crazy.
We'll be back home on Monday. So every fan's coming out today. I got to do it in a hotel conference room.
There you go.
We're doing it.
All right.
Goodbye.
Bye.
I'll miss you. Oh, thank you so much for watching. I'm Chuck Grossi. That's Brandon Perna. This is GPS, and you have been navigated.
And you've reached your destination, which is actually Green Bay, Wisconsin, home of the world's most notorious cheese.